welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Tiana. I am 21 years old and I am a mom to two beautiful twins. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. Now, I just want to put a TMI disclaimer on this video. If there's anything that makes you uncomfortable in this video, just don't watch the video or end it where you're at. And I also want to apologize for these videos being posted really late. I have had some internet issues at home that have stopped me from posting. So after this video, there'll be another video I'm posting as well today, and I just hope you enjoy. So I guess everything starts on June 1st. Well, I was getting everything ready for my baby shower. My baby shower was being held on June 2nd. So with that being said, it was really busy and hectic, and I was stressing out. And it was around 6:30 when I went to stand up, and I stood up and my water broke. Just like that, my water broke, and I thought I peed my pants. And for any mom out there who knows and who's had their water break, it was honestly probably the weirdest sensation throughout my whole pregnancy that I have ever felt. Because I honestly thought I was peeing my pants. So it was around 6:30 when my water broke, and I was just kind of in shock. I wasn't really prepared. I had nothing ready. The diaper bag wasn't ready. My bag wasn't ready for the hospital. The car seats weren't in the car at the time. I was just super sick throughout my whole pregnancy, so I was unable to get really any of the small things done and some of the major things done. So, like, going back, I wish I did it sooner, but throughout my whole pregnancy, my doctor did tell me that, you know, I should probably be able to make it to 36 weeks because every mother that she's had with twins and with multiples has made it to 26 weeks. So, mind you, at this point, I was only 33 weeks, and I thought I had a good 3 weeks left to go. And I was planning for my shower. So my water broke around 6:35, and I didn't have anything ready, so I packed everything up, and I spent a good half an hour to 45 minutes trying to get everything ready that I really did want to take to the hospital. And so the hospital was 45 minutes away from where we lived. So on my way to the hospital, my midwife had called me. And she had told me that she had asked me if there was anything like a cord coming through my legs or anything. And at this point, I was like, that's a really weird question to ask, but no, there's not. And because I didn't feel anything, I didn't know why she was asking me this question. I just thought it was really weird. And when I got to the hospital, I'm so grateful and so lucky that I did the hospital tour like 2 weeks prior to actually going in and delivering, because I wouldn't have known what to do. So I highly recommend doing the hospital tour, because it does help if you don't know what you're doing. So we get to the hospital, and they bring me up to the 4th floor in the triage area. So this is where they kind of just check to see how far along you are, how many contractions you're having, how dilated you are, before they actually move you to a room, because there's many women who come in and are only 2 centimeters dilated, and they will send you home only because you're not far enough along, and there's women who might actually need the room. But because both my babies were breech, and I had already scheduled a C-section for the 27th, and it was only the 1st, they needed my history, so mine was only the 1st. They needed my history, so my midwife gave them all my history, and while I was sitting there waiting, I had a contraction. And it was just a mild contraction, but it was probably the most painful thing throughout my whole pregnancy. It lasted a while, and it was just very painful. And unfortunately, that was the only contraction I actually got to feel, because not 2 seconds later, the doctor went to check and see how dilated I was, and she realized that indeed there was a cord coming through my legs. And this is what you call a prolapse cord. It's very dangerous for both mom and baby, and if that cord were to come out, the baby would obviously follow, and you know, the baby and me would have seconds to live. So I was actually rushed right into the emergency room when she realized they had me hooking up to IVs. They were going to put me to sleep. And I just remember thinking, like, where's Derek? And unfortunately at this point, I started realizing that Derek was unable to come in the room with me because I would be put right to sleep. I went into the room, and I guess it was 20 minutes to a half an hour later, I was out and the babies were born. They were born at 9:20 and 9:21. Sorry, mom brain. They were born a minute apart, and I just remember waking up in excruciating pain. After I had woken up, I guess I fell asleep. I went into a daze. I was really high on morphine. They had me on pain medication. And I honestly don't remember the first 3 days very well. But I do remember waking up and my family was there. I remember taking pictures with my sisters. And I just look back at those pictures and I'm like, wow, I was super duper swollen. I didn't realize why I was so swollen until later on. I was in the hospital for 4 days after I had them, only because my blood pressure was like, it was high. It wasn't crazy high, but it was really high. So they kept me there another day for observation. They sent me home with blood pressure medication and told me to follow up with my doctor the next day. So what did I do? I obviously followed up with my doctor the next day, and my blood pressure was skyrocketing. Normal blood pressure is 120/80. Mine was 210 over 146. Now, I was very lucky to be alive at this point. I was rushed to Welland Hospital, where they had to stabilize me enough and do a bunch of testing, but they had to stabilize me enough to be transferred back to St. Catharines, where I then spent a little over a week in the CCU. And it was just, in those moments, you know, I had a really rough time, because I was stuck on the 3rd floor and the babies were on the 4th floor. So I was away from them, even though I was in the same place as them. I was away from them. And the doctors, come to find out, were actually going to transfer me to Toronto Sick Kids if my blood pressure didn't go down, because I was obviously just turned 20 at the time. I was still a young adult, and they were going to transfer me if my blood pressure didn't go down. Thankfully, my blood pressure did go down, and I did get to go home a little after a week. Like, it was like a week and 2 days. I finally got to go home. And then 2 weeks after that, the babies got to come home, which was just probably the best moment of my life. You know, I had my family home. I had people around me. I had things around me. I got to sleep in my own bed. You know, I didn't realize until after I left the hospital, you know, never take anything for granted. Something as simple as a car ride home felt amazing to me, because I honestly just didn't know where I stood while I was in the hospital. So needless to say, my labor and delivery didn't exactly go the way I wanted it to. But I am honestly very thankful to be alive. I'm very thankful to have 2 healthy babies. And I'm honestly very thankful for where my life is right now. So right now I am going to insert some pictures, and below those pictures I'm going to just write what they are, just so you know where they play out in my storyline. And I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below, and I hope you enjoyed.